And throughout the last 3 days, my colleagues, my team members have given you different modules which has described the different types of learners who are always involved in the audience. In your training sessions, we have talked about different styles of learners. We have interacted about the different styles of learners. So my question here would be, why am I handling this topic, different learners? Why is different learners different from the topics that we have earlier discussed? Can anyone share with me? This question is, why do we need to handle different learners? Please open the mic question, please. Yeah, Bilal.
Because not all the 5 fingers are same. All the people have different abilities to listen, understand, and take whatever understand from the training that they have been given. They have different approach to the presentation or whatever material has been passed on to them. So that is why maybe it is important to learn to handle different types of learners.
Okay. But when I say different learners, is it different types of learners or different learners? That's the big question here. Thank you very much, Bilal, for your input. Really very informative. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share why I'm saying handling different learners?
The learning skill of the participants will be different, sir. Like somebody will be able to understand, grasping power will be more, or somebody will be a little late. So the learning skill of the participants is different.
Learning skills. Yes, very good. Thank you very much for your input. Learning skills will be different. What else do you think?
As you said rightly, there are different types also. There are some who are genius, very serious, very curious, notorious. All kinds of people are sitting in front of us.
Who's that? Who's that? Can I have a name?
Nehal.
Nehal. Okay, right. So what are the types did you just mention?
Some are curious, who are pure learners. Some are genius, who probably know more than the trainer is teaching.
Okay.
Then some are there, sort of a notorious guys.
Okay. So these are different descriptions of the learners that you find in your training sessions, right?
Correct.
So as a trainer, how do you find the environment when you're faced with these type of learners? What happens to you when you're facing these types of learners?
So for different learners, I also would like to add that besides being different in terms of ability, skills, as well as they use different styles as well. So the trainer's responsibility will be to cater to all the different types of audience by understanding, asking questions, and dealing with them to get them interested in the training.
Thank you very much for your input. Yes, but that was something which we have already covered in our earlier module. Yeah, you're right towards that extent, but we are moving ahead from the different learning styles. Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Yes, please.
Rijwanji, actually this side, I guess Gururaja is also raising his hand.
Yes, yes, please.
So
can
please
you just unmute them? You don't need to ask my permission.
The training can be tailored to the needs of the training itself can be tailored to the needs of the trainee if we know the learning preferences of the training. So like we were talking about yesterday about the multiple intelligences, like some are like visual learners and kinesthetic learners and like this. So there are about 9 multiple intelligences. So if we know what type of learner is what is the learning preferences of the trainee, then we will be able to deliver the appropriate training, I guess.
Thank you for the input. Yes,
but that's unmute yourself.
That is
This one I also believe you want to.
Yes, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so different type of learners, because whenever we doing the learning with an objective.
Yes.
So as earlier slide also mentioned that a story is never complete if it does not have an end. So whatever we do comes with either with the objective, and analyze the learners, one, our effort will be going waste. Second, there will be a loss of resources in terms of money, material, manpower. And third, most importantly, is the grasping, as some of my friend also mentioned, the grasping. So everybody is not same in terms of their competencies. So as a trainer, if you don't understand them, we will not be having a entire culmination of effort, which we say, success, which means effort into the time which we have put.
Thank you very much. So the understanding part, we have already covered the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So we are not really paying attention to that because that's the level which we've already covered. As some of the participants have rightly said, that the different personal, yes.
Rizwanji, I would like to
just
make a small contribution.
Yes.
Maybe in jest, but types of learners when we talk of, or types of audience that we talk of, I would say that there are 5 types of people, 5 types of audiences or learners.
Right.
One type I call, again, they are Hindi names or Hindi Mishrit names.
Right.
One type of audience or one type of learner, I will call him Shrota. Second category of person, I call him Sarota. Third category of person, I call him Sota. Fourth category, I call him Sarakta.
Okay.
And last type of person is what I call Sushuptata.
Okay.
Shrota is that audience or that learner who is very intently participating. He is very intently, involved in that. Something of that type. And he will, every game, every activity, he will be there. He will listen intently, real listening. Okay. And okay, that type. Second one is Sarota. Sarota is basically that beetle nut cracker. Today it is used only as a showpiece or on the centerpiece. But there are some people in a classroom type of environment, you get some people sitting on the first bench. And even in the virtual environment also you get such type of Sarotas who are for namesake of that type. They will, in the classroom, they will shake their head. They will, show that as if they are listening. Whether really or not, I don't know.
Kamath sir, if I would ask you in English, because we will have to give the audience some information. What are those? How would you describe it for them to understand?
Beetle nut
in
cracker.
concise?
You see, earlier people used to have that beetle nut in local
No,
language.
as per, how would you define them in words? Basically, not the
Shrota
general
is
description.
listener.
Okay,
Shrota is listener.
Okay.
Language is vehicle of thought and expression. Right. So I may not be exactly be able to. Unfortunately, I'm a polyglot in that way. So I may not be able to really give a very equivalent.
So you are actually what I understand, Kamath sir, is that you are saying it's not the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, but it's the personality of the person that you. Fantastic.
But I think you need to understand that very clearly. If you don't understand that, you will not be able to really how to handle that. You will not go in the right track in that. So you need to understand that. Shrota is one who is possibly asleep in the classroom.
Sir, don't open the whole secrets now, then I will not be able to give my presentation.
The other one, in a virtual situation,
thank you very much, sir. I would like to.
So that way, I think you need to tailor make your approach.
Yes. So that's what. Thank you very much, Kamath sir. You're the person who I've learned from, because that's where I
have learned it from experience in School of Dunyadari.
Yes.
Not by any training program. That's what it is. Anyway, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. The personality traits, as Kamath sir has clearly mentioned, it's not the visual, auditory and kinesthetics that we are talking about, but it's the different personalities that you are faced in an audience. And these personalities are always very critical for you to handle these kind of personalities. And you as a trainer need to have the skill and capabilities of learning how to handle these types of different learners. So under the different learners category, we have 3 different types of learners. In English context, can anyone tell me the first type of learner? Fast. Anyone?
Curious,
yes. Okay.
Serious.
Okay.
Genius.
Thank you. The first learner is the mediocre learner, which is one of the categories of the learners that we always face within our team of participants, you must be coming across the mediocre learner. The second category, anyone can say, anyone can tell me? One is the mediocre. What else? I'm giving you some hints here. Anyone?
Can I add on, sir?
Yes, the second category, please.
Yeah, in fact, I have divided into 4 types of learners where we conducted assessment tests. We bifurcate into dynamic learners, imaginative learners, analytical learners, and precision learners.
Okay.
Based on an assessment test which we do,
Okay,
and conduct the training program based on the patterns what they have and.
Thank you, Guru Raj.
Oh, thank you.
So that is one of the characteristics, and the second category, as you might generally describe them, would be the difficult learners. Now, we are making these categories because we are not saying that they are difficult to handle, but there are certain personality traits within the difficult people that you need to handle. Their personalities are something where a skilled trainer needs to handle these kind of learners. And the third category is, as someone said, intelligent learners or brilliant learners. So now I will take you to a very interesting video, and I would like to ask you all to pay attention to this video. And at the end of this video, I will be asking you questions about everything and anything within the video that we will be going through. So you need to pay a lot of attention to this video, and just give me a minute. I would like to take you there. So can we have open the mics, please? Can we all open the mics, please?
Yourself. Yes, please unmute yourself.
Are we all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have you all watched the video?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Did you pay attention? Have you all paid attention to the video?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So now, when I'll be asking you the questions, the person who raises the hand first with the right answer will be getting the points accordingly, right? So, can I start the questions? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the name of the teacher? Raise your hand. Okay, the first one who raised the hand.
Mr. Brown.
Very good, very good. So 1 point for Bilal, Mr. Brown.
Yes, noted, sir.
What color is the teacher's jacket?
Gray.
No, gray is not the right answer.
Light
Blue.
cream. Light cream.
Who was that? Who was that?
This is PK Rajput here. Light cream.
PK Rajput. 1 point for PK Rajput. Well done. Very good. Very good. So, what is written on the blackboard? Anyone?
WYZ.
WXYZ.
Yeah, it started from
Who was the first one to answer? Can you please?
Please, hello, excuse me. Please raise your hand. Don't give the answer. Please
Yeah,
raise
because
your hand.
this will not give you the points if there are too many people saying it. So who was the first person? There was some first one. Who was that the person? Yes. Yeah, your name is?
PK Rajput here.
Yeah, Rajput, Mr. Rajput gets 1 point. Okay, so which countries, which different countries is the students are of? Anyone?
Ashish ji has already
Yeah.
raised his hand first.
India, Japan,
Who's that?
China.
Who's
Ashish. Ashish here.
India.
India, Japan, China. You have Pakistan. Then you have France, and lastly you had Mexico.
Hungarian.
Hungarian. No, not France and Mexican, but Hungarian. But yes, Ashish, you have actually given most of the answers, right? So congratulations for that. What is the name of the Indian woman?
Firstly, Francis has raised the hand.
Francis, what's the name?
I don't know.
Jamila.
Yeah, who was that?
Bilal.
Bilal. 1 point for Bilal.
Yes.
What is the name of the Japanese guy? Anyone? No one there. What is the name of the Bangladeshi? Yes. Aishwarya.
Jamil.
No. Anyone else? Okay, his name is Ali, so no one there.
Yes.
How many pens does Ali have in his jacket pocket? Anyone?
Oh,
Okay, name of the Chinese girl. What is the name of the Chinese girl?
Suyan.
Yeah, you said it right the first time. What was that?
Sui. I only got confused.
Who was that?
Vendita.
Vendita, you get 1 point. Name of the Sardarji. Anyone? Fast. Yes, Sadiq.
Ranjit.
Very good. Sadiq gets 1 point. Ranjit. How many tables and chairs are there in the classroom?
Tables.
Eight.
Bilal has raised the hand first.
Bilal, yes. Bilal.
8 set of tables and chairs.
8.
No, not 8.
14, matlab 7.
No, tables. How many tables?
Yes.
8. Sorry, 7.
9 actually.
9 tables. 9 tables.
Okay, so let's.
Rijwanji Rajput is there.
12. I said 12. Ashwini ji.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's six tables and 12 chairs. So that's
12 chairs, correct. Yeah.
okay.
That's
Right.
right.
So thank you very much for such an amazing interactive participation by all of you. And I really like to compliment all of you for being such a good observant, good observant crowd. They are so sharp. Can you please?
I have taken your. This was a nice game, sir.
Hello.
This was nice, sir.
Well, this was why we wanted to do is to. Can you please meet the person in the background?
संडे को ही बैठ के कभी हो गया अभी 5 दिन तो मैं मिनिमम 5 डेज तो करने के बाद भी
Can you mute Anuradha, please?
Yes, I am.
क्वारंटाइन उस टाइम मैं फ्री रहूंगी.
Can you please? Right. So thank you. Thank you very much.
The cams cannot say.
Okay, so
तुम्हें देना ज्यादा beneficial है मेरे लिए.
Anuradha, please
सबके
mute
लिए.
yourself. Anuradha, please mute yourself. Anuradha, please mute yourself. Okay, participants, thank you very much for your interaction. And now we will go back to our presentation. Like, I would like to ask you again as to what you saw there. Can you see the slide share now?
Yes.
Okay, so now we are going back to the module and we'll be asking questions as to what did you see there in that particular module? What is it that you saw? Let's talk about the mediocre people or mediocre participants.
उसके लिए भी तुम्हें ये अगर उसमें word के format में
can you mute Anuradha, please?
Where is she? Let me see.
She is mute only.
It's already done. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to ask all the participants, please participate. We saw this particular video And I'm sure you will relate to the different types of learners that we are going to talk about right now. So please tell me, what are the characteristics of a mediocre learner or a mediocre person? Raise your hands and answer if you can, please. Yes, Francis?
Sir, the mediocre people are just happy-go-lucky people, okay? And they are not much enthused, like Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi. No, they just go on, just want to learn and do a pass with the time.
Okay, so that's how you, yeah, the mediocre, that's what you mean by they just want to spend their time without having any interest in the learning. That's what you say, right?
Yes.
Anyone else would like to share what is the definition of a mediocre learner?
Yeah, so mediocre learner is somebody who does not know about his own qualities, somebody who does not exert himself to learn more, and somebody who cannot unleash his talent so that he can win. He does not have the gut in, fire in the belly to win. Somebody who's very lackadaisical.
Great, great. Who's that? May I know your name?
Ashish.
Ashish. Thank you, Ashish. Yeah, you have defined one of the characteristics of a mediocre.
Gajalakshmi is also there. Raise the
Yes,
hand.
ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
please.
Yeah, the mediocre person is what is that? They will just give away in between. Okay, they will not continue till the end, and they will not listen till the end.
You're a teacher, right?
Yes, sir.
So you understand mediocre learners or people much better because you must be coming across them in your students.
Hello, sir.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, please.
I think this is a general crowd normally among the trainees or learners, the mediocre people.
Right.
Among us, most of us would be like mediocre people, I feel.
Yes. Well, in all participants, it's not mediocre. We are not defining him in the personality, but his ability to grasp the learning. That's what we are talking about, So mediocre in the sense of the learning. Yes, please. Yes.
I guess Sunil ji has also raised the hand.
Yes, Sunil, please.
Yeah, basically a person who's not enthusiastic is not sure why he's there.
Yes, you're right. So that is one of the characteristics. Anyone else would like to share about mediocre learners? Anything that they... Yes, Sabha.
Not really very curious. Just take whatever comes to him. Not really very curious or interested, rather. Take whatever is coming to you, or else just forget it. You don't need it anymore.
Thank you, Sabha. Yes.
Average learners.
Very nice.
Not
yeah,
not really keen about learning.
Very good. Thank you very much for sharing. Anyone else?
Sadik is there.
Yes, Sadik.
Yes, sir. Is mediocre is neither bad or good. Means barely adequate, I can say.
Fantastic. Thank you. So let's actually see what a mediocre learner is.
Yes.
He has limitations in understanding. So when you say mediocre, as I mentioned, it's not mediocre in other aspects, but his mediocrity is in his learning limitations. So many of the trainers and teachers find more of their students in this category because they need a lot of effort to be able to help the learner in learning anything because their limitations of grasping is low. So that is where you need to avoid any conflicts with them. Any other thing that you need to understand how to handle a mediocre learner? Anyone here? I think a lot of teachers here, I think they can really help us here.
Yes, Rajput ji, do you want to say something?
Gajalakshmi want to say
Yes,
something.
ma'am. We have to engage them regularly to get the concentration from them, so that they can listen properly. And if they are asking questions frequently to them, we can identify easily who are all the mediocre people who are listening. So we can just ask frequent questions to them to make them active.
Very right, very right. So you need to keep them always engaged with your questions and also help them and guide them in their learning process. They need a lot of pushing or support when they are learning. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Actually, at the end of each slide, we have to ask them, okay, whether you have understood or you need any more clarity, kind of thing. We have to ask them. Yeah.
Right, right. So that is extra support that they need so that they are more enhanced in their learning through your support, right? So
Rajiv want to say something?
Yes, Rajiv. Rajiv?
No, one more way is to help the mediocre people is that while taking sessions, one should repeat the name of few of the mediocre people, learners. So when names are coming again and again, mediocre people are more attentive towards what the trainers are speaking or a teacher is telling. So this could be one of the way by which we can do.
So you mean to say you need to keep them involved. You need to keep them in the questioning mode so that they are focused and they keep themselves involved in the whole curriculum or the training program. Am I right?
No, questioning is one of the fantastic method. Other is that, repeating the name of that participant, right? Yes. Repeating the name of the participant while taking the examples or in your discussion, right?
Right. You mean to say involve them in discussions and make them participate in the content of the discussion.
No. Let's understand. If I'm a mediocre participant, what I'll be doing, what I'm telling, my name should be taken into again and again. Rajiv is a very good boy, right? He is always attentive in the class, right? So whenever we are taking examples, name if we are bringing it, so it will be more good. It will make the person more attentive.
Thank you. Right.
Aishwarya also want to say something.
Yes. So we should regularly ask them to reiterate so as to understand whether they are able to grasp what we are trying to tell them.
Yes. So that means there is a constant feedback and a cyclic process of affirmation that is needed, that the mediocre learner is in the same frequency as your teaching or training, right?
Yes. Rahul sir also want to say something.
Yes, Rahul, please go ahead.
Rizwan Saab, I mean, it's getting a little confusing at this point of time because at times we are taking the examples of children and then we are getting back to the adult rooms.
Yes.
The kind of strategy and the kind of categorization that is done for a child, a young learner that we say, or the adult learner. And then there is a group between the young and the adult learners,
right?
Which are usually the college going under 25 kind of people. There are this kind of classification and these strategies do not work at all.
Okay.
There cannot be any classification on the basis of their learning abilities.
Right. You mean to say that because of the age factor, these are adult learners which we are talking about, and what I am mentioning is
so the methodology.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
I know you're talking about the social learning process. Am I right? You're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the learning methodology that is applied for a child is not the same as that of the adults. We have got a specific andragogy which is there as the adult learning principles.
Right.
And the child, it's the pedagogy. So the kind of classifications that we do in pedagogy is very different from the kind of classifications that we do in andragogy. Okay. And even when we are handling the adult learners, there cannot be a classification based on their learning abilities. These are things which create more of a problem and create more of a block between the student and the classroom and the instructor. The moment I grade someone that, okay, he is a mediocre person, I have become judgmental.
Okay.
So the classification of, and the moment I grade someone as a brilliant person, then my attitude changes towards him.
Okay.
Then the engagement and the kind of attention that we start giving to the classroom becomes very biased. Okay. We start taking, like Rajiv Saab also suggested, and rightly suggested, that if I have graded someone as a mediocre student and I feel that he needs to be engaged, more, and I start taking his name every now and then, it may backfire also in case of adults, not in the case of children, but in the case of adults, it may backfire in the way that he may start feeling as if he is being pointed out.
Okay. Can I make a statement here?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you very much for your feedback. What you are really mentioning is, I also get what you're saying, that what I am describing, I have made a very general statement when I opened the conversation also, that I did not describe it in adult learning. So that is because there are a lot of participants here who are trainers as well as educationists. So that may be the reason why I have not clearly defined that adult learning and children's learning, because these particular factors that I am mentioning is a general statement for all learners. I'm not mentioning only adult learners, because adult learners, we have already covered it in, as I mentioned, in the learning styles. As Rahul, you have interacted with us in the earlier modules, WAC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and all that. So what I'm here mentioning has to do with more the personalities of the person and not only the age. Are you with me?
Now I'm perfectly with you, sir.
Yes.
It's my bad. I took the trainer to be only TTT to be only train the trainer. It can also be deciphered as train the teacher.
Yeah, because
it's perfectly fine, sir.
Yes, because there are teachers also within this group. I think there are educationists here as well as trainers, and I hope that we will be covering a general personality trait rather than just focusing only on the adult learning concept. If you understand.
Perfectly fine, sir. I was just confused on that aspect.
So even if you see these points, Rahul, they are not in any way discriminating between age. If you see, it's understanding the limitations. It could be understanding the limitations of a child, or it could be understanding the limitation of an adult. Avoiding conflict it could be avoiding conflict with an adult, and it could be avoiding conflict because we are not in any way demarcating any age for these characteristics, because this is a general criteria which you need to use for all age of learners. Earlier, we have already defined the WAC system, which was more on the adult learning, which I think Rajesh and other of teammates have clearly defined. So that's the reason we are going on a very broader perspective of the learning of difficult learners in handling, right?
Accepted, sir. I was just expecting aspects of distractors, attention seekers.
Yes, we will be covering some of the characteristics.
All those parts.
You will relate to that as a trainer, because that is also an aspect which we as trainers face in our trainings also. That will be covered in as we go forward, right? So
and some of that I'm playing right now.
So, no. You're being very, very positive, and you have given the right questions. It's very justified to clarify. Maybe I made a mistake of putting a picture of a child here, so maybe that's why maybe it's giving you an impression it's focused on children only. So I would like to say that maybe that is the reason that you must have misunderstood that it's only for the children. But if you read through these points, you will identify that all these characteristics or personalities also are visible in adult learners also, if I'm not wrong, Rahul, right?
Yes, definitely.
So give feedback to help them progress. It could be in adults, it could be in children, because in a lot of adults, they are not able to absorb the learning, and they need a lot of feedback. As I was talking to Rajiv, I told him that you need to keep them in constant communication so that you give them positive feedback, and that enhances their learning. So as I said, positive feedback in public and reprimand in private, because that's where we target the adult learners, Rahul. Because in children, the teachers can do reprimanding within a classroom, but in an adult learning environment, you cannot expect to be reprimanding an adult within a training classroom, because there is a level of what do you call respect, and his posture as an adult. He has already gained a lot of experience and learning from life. So you cannot treat him as a lower rank, because in social learning, the trainer and the trainees usually come at par, because they are learning at the same level of expertise or experience. You may be specialist in a particular subject, but there are trainees who have much more vast experience as far as life experiences are concerned. So are you with me on this, Rahul? If I would like to ask your feedback. Hello? Rahul is... Bring the best out of them. So
he says yes.
I can't hear him anyway, because I can't see you. Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah, he's showing thumbs up.
Bringing the best out of them. So this could be in adults. This could be in your children, the teachers that are actually teaching students. So I hope everyone is with me. I would like to have your feedback. Are we on the right path? Any questions or queries that you would like to raise, please? Anyone there?
As there is no any raised hand, we can go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So now going ahead with the next type of learner, which is the difficult learner. And I'm sure Rajesh will agree that many of the training programs, you come across a lot of challenges in difficult learners. So Rahul, can you please give me some examples of a difficult learner?
I mean, difficult learners in the andragogy concept, it would be people who disrupt or distract the training flow, or could be the spotlight seekers. And we know, I don't need to give an example for that. I've been playing that role for quite some time now.
No. So see, difficult learners, Rahul, sorry, no. Rahul, your feedback is based on your expertise. So let me correct you. Difficult learners that we are defining here is not people who disrupt, but the people who are not able to understand, or what do you call, they kind of divert from the process of learning, right? So that is what I want to say. Any other point that you would like to make?
Yeah, the difficult people would like to, they would often take the subject and digress it to a different direction altogether.
Yes.
So during the discussions, they would take it all together to a different tangent, and then it becomes very difficult for the trainer to bring back the entire group to the topic.
You're right.
So that's one of the things. The other thing is the challenger. The challenger would often come and keep challenging on your methodology. He can even go ahead and challenge the knowledge. He can even go ahead and challenge the environment. But the typical characteristic of difficult participants would be that they are not focused and they are not in the learning mode.
Right.
So they keep moving away from the learning process itself.
Thank you, Rahul. Anyone else would like to put in their input?
Can I add on, sir? Gurraj here.
Yes.
The being passive learners and reactive in their thought, hold on their egos at every stage.
Okay. You mean passive learners, right?
Not ready to listen at all. Not ready to learn, but they would like to poke their nose at every step.
Okay.
Keeping their egos at the highest level. And, the thought process of what he was telling of deviating in a different way.
Right. Thank you.
Working on their egos.
Lakshmi, madam also want to say something.
Yes,
yeah. Generally, they want to show off. Generally, they want to show off among the participants. I know everything, and whatever I am telling, that is right, kind of thing. But if you are asking some questions to them, and if they are not able to answer it, then we can handle them very easily. So, kind of people,
So you mean to say these people show off that they know, but they really don't know. So now I will ask you how to handle them. As I've just mentioned, engage them in conversations, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything else that you would like to mention? How do you handle difficult learners?
Sir, actually, usually in my trainings, what I will do, I'm into product training. Okay, so generally they know, like, for example, if they're supposed to know 10 things, I will just talk anything, ask anything technically. Obviously, they will not know what is technical things like on that particular product. Then if they don't know the answer, then after that, the session will be smooth. They will not ask any question and they will start listening to me. So kind of we are doing
So you
it.
bombard them with a lot of technical questions, so they just
No, only one question is enough, sir. I know what technical question they don't know because
Okay.
that is a new thing for us.
That's the way you handle difficult learners. Thank you very much. Anyone
Thank you,
else? Anyone else? How to handle difficult learners?
Rijwanji,
Yes.
can I have some responses from chat box?
Yes, we can handle that. Yeah, can you just read them out?
Yes. So Nilesh is saying no attention. Sundar Jyoti is saying not able to understand the language. Sabha is saying slow learners, attention seekers, hyperactive, distracted. And Dr. Savita is saying difficulty in understanding, no interest, past experience may be a cause or negative experience. And Sabha is again saying disturbing constantly. So these are some responses from chat box.
Right. Thank you very much, all of you, for your participation in the chat box. And now we are going to, most of them are very right because they are
Gururaj sir want to say something.
Yes. Can I complete the comment?
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
Yeah, basically, what I understand from these comments in the chat is that they are difficult, disruptive people who want to always disrupt the learning process and do not want to go the learning and training to go on the right path, right? So anyone else you were just mentioning, someone?
Gururaj sir want to say something.
Yes, Gururaj sir.
Yes, please unmute yourself.
Sir, sometimes we make them leaders itself.
Very nice. Yes, you have hit the nail on the head.
We make them
the best way to handle difficult.
Make management games and secretly tell the other people not to listen to him and show them how do they respond in that situations.
Right.
All those techniques we do it when required. So
right, you're absolutely right. The difficult learners are always seeking attention, and if you give them some authority or responsibility, they feel that they are responsible and they feel important, and then they actually start behaving responsibly. Like you can make them team leaders, or you can give them some responsibilities to handle the teams, and that's very right, Gururaj. So celebrate accomplishments and short goals until long-term goals are achieved. So difficult learners are not able to achieve their goals, so you need to help them celebrate small achievements, and by doing that they get a habit of going ahead and doing long-term achievements and long-term goals. Use constructive confrontation, prevent conflicts. As someone rightly said, disruptors, you do not actually give them more ammunition to disrupt you. If you try to confront them, then they become aggressive and they disrupt the whole training program, and they are always in that envious mood to keep on disturbing you, and they will go at any end to so you should prevent any conflicts with such difficult learners. Be as diplomatic as possible. As I said, you need to be very diplomatic. Remain level-headed and strong. And many times when you are a trainer, these difficult learners, they are always testing you. They are trying to see whether you are very docile or naive or very, soft. So you need to always keep your posture. You need to keep your authority, and you have to set some ground rules so that they do not get the ammunition to disrupt. So you need to have a strong personality and authority as a trainer. Stay calm and do not act upon your emotions. That's the most important part. As a trainer, you need to understand that your mental status is what is going to keep your other trainers in the learning mode. So if you become angry or you get aggressive, the whole training program will go for a toss, and all the other learners will basically go into a different mode of, a lot of negativity will be spreading within the trainees. So you need to keep yourself calm and do not get into that mode of aggression, which the difficult learners are actually trying to create. Now, coming down to the last category of learners, I will take 3 or 4 answers. How do you handle brilliant learners? Can we open the questions for that, please?
Francis has raised his hand. Please, Francis.
Yes, Francis, please.
Sir, when we say brilliant people, normally these are the people who are clever, intelligent, who understand things faster compared to others. And yes, they're always responsive, but always have ego problems. This is actually, I feel this is, it relates to personalities with people, exactly. Of people. And then normally they tend to remain sometimes selfish, reserved, and only will answer only when they are asked for. And they were the performers when they have to participate in exam activities or examinations, and they will showcase their talent. And they will not be able to willing to help others.
Fantastic. Francis, thank you very much for your feedback. So that is one of the identification of brilliant learners. They feel some kind of a authority or a higher level of understanding than the other participants. So they always keep themselves aloof, or they think that they are much better than the others, and they tend to display that through their conversations or the way they communicate with the trainer. So they try to show the trainer that they know better or they know more about the subject matter or something like that. So yes, anyone else, how to handle them? I'm asking how to handle them.
In addition to that, what I will do in my trainings is like, if I find some brilliant people in that, whatever the point I told to the participant, after that I will just ask that particular person, sir, anything you want to add, anything you want to add. Generally they do have some valuable points also. Sometimes they don't have. Okay, so in that particular scenario, the handling of that people will be very very easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. So brilliant learners are those who have to be handled in a very kid glove kind of way, because they feel themselves elite, or they feel themselves much better, because they believe in efficiency and effectiveness. So they are always testing the trainers as to what level of understanding the trainer is. Is he at par with me in my understanding? Is he going to give me value for what I am here for, or is he at the same level or at a lower level of understanding and knowledge than I am?
Sir, Ashish want to say something, sir.
Yes, Ashish, please.
Yeah, I was, when everybody was saying, all are very good trainers and seasoned trainers. So as an HR professional, decade,
your voice is breaking.
I relate this with the type of people which we manage. So my question was, while I come across in my team, there is a person who is absolutely brilliant. So we are taught that you either, the people who can manage themselves, you mentor them, somebody who is not mediocre, you coach them, and the people who are absolutely good for, then you direct them. So my question is, when we relate to the kind of trainers, we are talking in the setup where, kind of people come in external. What happens when a known person comes? Suppose if I have a team member, I have 10 people reporting to me, and all of them are so different to each other. So trainer is an unknown person, difficult for somebody to establish rapport. Even if it comes for a very specific time, he might not be in-house. So, a person who is there with them almost as a leadership angle, what do you have to guide on that?
Okay, so you mean to say an in-house trainer who is taking care of the team, the team within the organization? Is that what you're trying to say, right?
Dr. Savita also want to say something.
1 minute, I'm addressing that question which was raised. Can I have the response from the questioner, please?
Yeah, that is correct, Rizwan. So that
Right,
was one
right.
in a in-house trainer. It can be a manager also, because we dodge the hat of multiple times to become an SME, or so sometimes that's we do it. Because I give an example. Out of 10, I have 3 people. One is you don't need to tell him anything. He knows everything. He does his work perfectly. And if you try to obstruct him, it becomes a bit offensive, or he becomes a bit. Sometimes he puts a barricade himself.
He's showing a posture of brilliance.
A folded hand, which we say in non-verbal communications. Folded hand is not open to the ideas.
Okay.
So you need to
closed arms, or you can say close to any learning, basically. Okay, so let me say that when you are doing training to your own employees, you're an in-house trainer. You know a lot of the personalities that you are engaging with. So you need to be cautious that you create a level of authority well in advance before you do the training, because many a times those people tend to think, "Arey yaar, he's a part of our group, he's a part of the organization, so we can take him lightly and we can just go ahead and enjoy our trainings." But that is what, as a trainer, you need to set the ground rules, and that's what we always ask our trainers, that whenever you go into a training program, you need to understand the personalities, different personalities, and set ground rules so that they do not go beyond that level of interaction, and you keep some limitations of authority with these learners, even in the case of the brilliant learners. So am I addressing your query? Hello?
Yeah, thank you, Rizwan. I think that's the perfect.
You need to keep your authority. You do not actually give them the leeway to take you for granted, although you may be an in-house trainer. So influence with, anyone else? If someone was wanting to say something?
Dr. Savita.
Yes, it's me. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes. If we, this is regarding the brilliant learners. If we say that he or she is wrong, definitely we will be demotivating them. The 2 factors what Rizwan sir said is recognizing and responsibility. Definitely it works. And sometimes we have to give them more knowledge. They want to learn more. The moment you give them more than what they know, definitely they look upon you. So.
Exactly.
Can I share one of my experience here? Yes,
if it's brief, because we need to, we are running out of time. Right?
I'm a faculty. I'm teaching in the college. Okay. So we used to have students above our age. Okay. Maybe 10 years elder to me, and I'm a Christian. So we have priests whom we call father. So these priests, we respect them as father. And they would be heading some institute as a director or something. And for further studies, they would be, sent by the diocese or the organization for further studies to the college. And here, being a Christian, we, our community or religion is to come. So if we call them as father, they would sit on our head. So later, we were ladies in one of the college and that department. It's old experience. So what we decided is we should not do that. When they are here, they are the students. So anymore, we would call them by name, and we used to ask them, treat them just like any other student. So once it so happened, one of the director, when he was leaving, when he was in the 2nd year, he told us experience. He said that I was a director, and I used to get everything on my table. Ask for a glass of water, do that, do this, everything would come here. And coming here, you people made me do that. Now, he's a person who would adjustable character. So very brilliant, had a lot of experience. And we learned a lot from them because they had seen more of life. They used to they get transferred to different places. So they would tell us more of their experience, with which we also learned and we accepted them. But then when this person was leaving, he said, I have, converted myself now as a student, and I used to, take your commands. So now I have to go back and play that role of a director, giving commands. So this is one of my experience, brilliant experience.
Yeah, your trick was to humble them. Basically, you need to bring them to an understanding that.
Yes, but we have to see the people.
Your designations or your personalities outside the classroom are different from the learning environment that you're coming into. So thank you very much for your sharing. So as we said, influence them with energy, enthusiasm, initiative, drive, and inspiration. So as someone mentioned that you need to show the brilliant learners that you know much better and you have an authority on the subject matter and the topic that you're talking about. Only then they will respect you for whatever you are giving them. If they feel that your knowledge base is less than what they have, then it becomes very difficult for you to handle them, right? So display similar traits as them to identify people, because they identify people who have the same attributes and characteristics. As I just mentioned, that they always are judging the trainer. They are always looking at trainers as someone who is at par or maybe higher in knowledge and expertise, so that then they can respect the person rather than learning from someone who is maybe inferior in knowledge or authority. So thank you very much. The last thing is influence them with your communication skills and display very positive body language. I think someone also mentioned here that when you have a corporate trainer within the same organization, when you're training your employees, you need to have a positive body language, a positive authority language, the way you are going to display your training. And your communication skills should be much higher so that you are able to handle them much better. So those are some of the characteristics of a brilliant learner. And thank you very much for all the participants for having such an interactive discussion regarding the different types of learners. I would like to open any questions that you might have about this topic. Please, we would be like to have any questions that you have right now. Thank you. Anyone? Aishwarya, yes?
Yes.
So sometimes we have brilliant participants, but they are also very enthusiastic. So whenever you put forth any question to the participants, they are the first ones to answer. Yes. Now in a virtual training environment, we have an option to mute them. But when it's a physical environment, whenever you ask a question, they'll first jump upon and start talking about it. And if you have restriction of time, you don't get a chance to ask other participants to put in their input. So how to actually deal with such kind of people? Like, you don't want to stop them, you don't want to demotivate them, but you still want to give other participants their chance to speak up.
Okay, so in that case, as a trainer, what I usually use is that I use the questioning technique in a way where I go and ask specific people the question, rather than giving an open question to everyone to answer. So I will go and ask one specific person from whom I would like to have the answer, rather than keeping an open forum so that they can jump into the conversation, you know. So when you know that the brilliant learner is always going to go ahead and answer it, you need to have the tools to be able to ask other participants, because in a mediocre learner, he is not going to reply. So you need to initiate learning with the mediocre person. So you should name the mediocre person and ask him the questions. And then that way you will be able to help the other learners to grasp the learning, rather than letting the brilliant learners open the answers, and that would not really help the whole learning process. So am I addressing the
yes,
question?
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your response.
Your questioning techniques are open questions and closed questions. And open questions, if you want to control the brilliant learners, make it specific to a person you think is a mediocre learner, so that he is initiated to interact with you more than the brilliant learners taking over the training program. Right. So are you with me on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So anything else you would like to ask?
Nothing, sir. That was it. Thank you so much.
So I hope that everyone had an awesome time in this module of learning. Can I have some feedback from the participants? Anything they would like to give me as a takeaway? What was the learning you had? Yes, Gajalakshmi.
So today we understood different types of people and how to deal with them. Till now we dealt in some other unique, some other way, and we found out the different ways of handling these type of people. So that is what I learned today. And since it's a day-to-day activity, we what is it? We are connecting very easily. So I'm so happy to know all the techniques how to handle these type of people. Thank you.
Thank
Sir.
you. Thank you very much, Gajalakshmi ji. And I
Ashish
would like.
also want to say something.
Yes, anyone? Yes.
Ashish.
Yes, Ashish, please.
Not particularly today, but the last 3 days which I have been attending, it realizes it is not that difficult. It seems, so from the other end, as participants, it seems this a very easy task. But when you do, especially train, it's such a difficult thing because we never. I was doing the training, but doing it very abruptly in terms of imparting knowledge, but not knowing the nuances. So I think the last mile knowledge which you all are giving is immensely beneficial.
Thank you very much, Ashish. I would like to ask everyone, how did you find the video presentation? How was that? What was your experience about the video? Anyone?
Hello, sir.
What was
this is
the learning?
Vendita here.
What was the learning from the video? Yes.
Sir, this is Vendita here.
Yes.
Today, actually, we had a lot of practical learning sessions because it was on presentation, communication, and on the actual what happens in the classroom. Plus, all the videos were very enlightening. It was a fun way of learning and seeing the practical demonstration. So it was a very engaging. Even the competition was nice. The fastest finger first, something different that we have learned to use in our training module. So it was a very good and engaging session, sir.
Thank you very much. So I would like Romana ji to open the mics for everyone because this is the end of the session, and I would like to thank everyone for being so patient and going through all these modules and helping us impart our modules. And I hope we had a good learning experience and a lot of enjoyment. Yes, please.
In fact, sir, the videos were good, and the way you put forward and I kept on asking questions, that was mind blowing. Because when I went through that video, I did not pay attention to all those attributes, names. I was involved with it made me learn that I should be really attentive, and as per Lily Dore, the topics that were taken by Ashwini sir, that came to limelight actually for me. So thank you very much. It was a wonderful session, and today it was thorough enjoyment actually.
Yes, so you have hit the nail on the head. The main purpose of the video was to test your auditory, your visual, your kinesthetics, and at the same time how you take the story. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, in fact, I would like to request a question. Past almost 15 minutes, I was waiting for.
Yes, sir. Guru Raji, I apologize for that.
In fact, sorry, I felt I should be at the back end from today itself. No, I will not poke my nose, nor I will come in between.
Oh, why do you think that?
Let me allow to ask some questions, please.
Please, go ahead. I'm always open for your questions, sir.
Okay. Sir, now in certain organizations where the internal trainings are conducted,
yes,
there may be issues within the interdepartmental conflicts do happen sometimes.
Yes.
These brilliant people sometimes take that as an advantage of pulling down each one's leg. Many a time it happens, sir. Because it will be like dependency. Directly or indirectly, we will be forced to depend on those people. But we cannot take it. Sometimes, should it be ethics or principles, or should it be my skills or my knowledge? It becomes very tough sometimes to balance this. But still we have to do it. Nothing as a trainer, but it's a tricky sometimes, sir.
Okay. So you are saying that these brilliant people, when they are in a classroom, they actually become more politically oriented. Am I right?
Not just politically oriented, sir. Sometimes dependence, they take our weaknesses sometimes what we have as a department as a strength for them at that time.
Yes, so that is what you're right, because it's not so easy as we talk about to handle brilliant learners or mediocre learners or difficult learners. As someone rightly said, I think Ashish or someone said that there is a lot of skill and practice required. And for this, what we need to learn is the coaching techniques. The coaching techniques which use different types of questioning processes, where you have control over the participants. There is also something called facilitation tools and techniques, where the facilitator does not allow the dominant personalities to take over the audience or the training process. So these are some tools and techniques that I would request all the participants to maybe involve themselves in learning, which is very important to enhance the training process, where you have questioning techniques from NLP. You could have other tools and techniques from facilitation, which not only helps you to understand how to handle the personalities, but it also helps you to understand your emotions and to control your emotions when you're interacting. Because as a trainer, you're also a human, and sometimes you are not able to control your emotions when you are in a very challenging position. So you're very right, Guru Raji, that in certain cases it becomes really difficult to handle. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Rijwan sir, and all the trainers today who have put in that excellent. Probably these things will make us to learn, unlearn, and sometimes relearn. This was the concept which we, in fact, made us to understand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Guru Raj. Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the participants for making this evening awesome. And I would love to meet you again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be another awesome experience. Yes, please.
Ashwini, this side, I would like.
Yes, please. You want to say something?
Add something here.
Yes, please.
Am I audible?
Who's the winner? Who's the winner of this session?
Rumana can tell.
Fastest finger first. Who's the winner? Rumana ji, anyone? I think there was a very balanced communication. I think no one was dominating the conversation. Am I right?
Gajalakshmi madam was answering many questions and the very first times on the very first.
Okay. Gajalakshmi ji was answering a lot of questions, right? Yes. Anyone else in the second
one? Then the second comes the Bilal.
Bilal, okay.
Yes.
So Gajalakshmi and Bilal, are they there over there now? Hello, Gajalakshmi ji?
Yes, sir.
So congratulations, Gajalakshmi ji and Bilal.
One moment.
Yes, please.
Even Ashish Banka has been speaking quite a bit today.
Okay.
Yes. Wonderful.
So
Congratulations, Ashish.
Now I think it's a very cutthroat competition because there has been so much positive participation.
Spoke,
yeah? Yes. Yeah, many people have Rahul, Rudhi, and Savita.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So Ashish, Bilal,
so I would like to compliment all of these people for making this evening so interactive. I would say it wouldn't be fair to name out anyone in particular, but all of you have really been very competitive, very energetic, and very enthusiastic in making this evening so interactive and so full of learning. So I would like to congratulate everyone, Ashish, Gajalakshmi ji, and all the others. If I would request Rumana to name that few of them who have been on the top.
Yes,
thank you.
Bilal and Rajput ji and Ashish, Vendita, Sadiq,
very
Rajiv,
good. Congratulations all of you.
Nehal Gandhi, the Guru Raji sir.
Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Yes, many have given answer many times.
Fantastic. I would love to have this energy going forward in the 5th and 6th day. And thank you. I really I'm humbled today for all the support and interaction you have given. So good night, everyone. Thank you very much, and see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the participation.
Wonderful days.
Rahulji,
Wonderful
Gururajji, thank you very much. I really love your participation. Your questioning was very, very apt, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to answer you. Can I also answer one of the things that I think Ashwani, you had questioned, the listening, right? You were talking about the listening point, which Ashwani was doing the module about. Was that something that you wanted to be addressed?
Ashwani?
Ashwani is
Yes.
Yes. Can we get a point across? What was that about? Rahulji, can you please elaborate on that question that you had about Ashwani's module?
I had requested for certain tools to be given. Most of the times when we are told that you must listen more actively, or then it doesn't end there. What are the tools if are given? Then probably person can practice.
Right. So can I say, as a trainer, as an NLP practitioner, I think there are more tools out of the classroom, like meditation. When you do a lot of meditation, you need to understand how to have your hearing, or how to categorize your hearing much more precisely. As a listener, many a times what happens, you listen with what you call generalization, distortion, what do you call the NLP distortion and generalization, and you actually distort the whole sentence into what you want to think, because you're thinking from your perspective, and that causes all the miscommunication. The meta models that you see in NLP explains how you have to question the participants to get the clear answer from them. Many a times when we are talking, we are distorting, generalizing, and we are not giving the right context and the right clarity of your responses. So I might say, that person is just like that. He is always very angry. So you need to question the person. Why do you say he's always very angry? Have you experienced this always? So then he will clarify, no, it was not always. It was just one particular moment. And taking that one particular moment in his context, he has created an image of that person as that this person is always very angry. So that distortion, generalization, which many of the participants and even trainers take with them, basically distorts their listening power. They are hearing, but they are not listening. So there is a distinction between hearing and listening. So if you are, yes, Ashwini, yes.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Ashwini, this side, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, please, tell me.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So as you have already spoken and addressed the question, I would also like to add points from my side here.
Yes.
Because we were running out of the time, I will take just a minute only here.
Okay.
To address that question. He was specifically asking about the tools for active listening, right?
Yes.
So what I can say, there can be so many tools, but I can say about only one thing, which I do believe in, that is about the three age. The first age about attitude, the second age about attention, and third age about the adjustment. Attitude means it shows your learning agility, whether you want to learn something, right? And attention, as it clearly mentioned to the name itself, that paying the heed on whatever the speaker is delivering or speaking to with you, right? And the third person, when it comes to the third thing, when it comes to adjustment, means going with the flow. Going with the flow means what happens, sometimes it happens that participants may think that speaker is saying something, right? They assume by themselves that speaker is saying something like this, right? Rather than doing that, just pay heed to the speaker, right? And go with the flow.
How?
Right.
That is
Go
where
with
the
the
tools
flow.
come in.
Right? Adjust your thought, not assuming.
Yes,
You cannot control your thoughts. You cannot control your thoughts. You need to have certain tools and.
That's what we were talking about, Ashwini. That's what I was telling Rahul, that you need to have the tools of meta model questioning process, and to give them the clarity of what they are trying to say. You need to ask them questions and to make sure that the communication is clarified. So if I am not communicating clearly, I am distorting my communication, and if the participant is not communicating clearly, I need to make sure that I have the right context of it. So I need to use the meta model, the questioning process, and the clarity to avoid distortion, this generalization of our conversations. I hope I have been able to address some things. The other thing, as I mentioned, listening needs to be on the meditation level also. I hope that you agree, because many of times people may not agree with this, but I think meditation really helps a lot for the trainers to keep themselves emotionally calm and to have their senses in the present, in the now. Because many a times the trainer, while he is in the classroom, he is not in the classroom. He is worried, he is very, excited, or he's distorted or disoriented because of fears and so on and so forth. So that's what I think. Thank you very much. Anything, and anyone would like to make this feedback? Okay, thank you very much, participants, for being such a great crowd. Rahulji, thank you very much for your questions, and I hope that we have been able to address your queries and questions. So good night, everybody. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
We missed Jamwal Sahab today.
He is there, right? Jamwal?
Yes, he is.
We have now got into the habit of trio,
So thank you so very much. I really appreciate.
आज त्रिदेव में से एक देव का सेशन नहीं हुआ ना, तो आज मिसिंग कर.
Sunil, I would like to compliment you for being interactive today. You have put in a lot of your questions and answers, and I really appreciate your participation, and all the participants who have really put in their efforts to make this evening so amazingly.
As far as training is concerned, I'm just babes in the wood.
No. See, training is all about your life experiences, how you bring it to the participants, along with the tools and techniques. So I'm sure Rahul will agree with that.
Of course, sir, of course. And in today's session, there was, the entire session was a highlight in its own self. But one of the responses was, what do we say? A show stealer. I believe it was Rajiv ji who gave that Sarota and Sota. That was a show.
No, stealer. That was Kamath ji, I think.
Okay, Kamath ji, right. I'm so sorry, Kamath ji.
He's one of our professors from.
He's a very tenured person.
Oh my God, I cannot. I'm very humbled to be him being a part of my training. So he's got massive experience.
And he proved that.
Yes,
he proved that today.
He did. But I was a little scared, because if he discloses all the traits, then I should just close the PPT. But
फिर TTT advanced कैसे होगा? TTT masters कैसे होगा? सब कुछ एक ही में हो जाएगा.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Participants, I really love the participation and enthusiasm. Good night, everyone.